can get. Bon après-midi. Good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi.
Good afternoon.
Je m'appelle Richard Arbeiter, je suis le DPR du Canada. Bienvenue. C'est vraiment un plaisir de vous voir ici. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Arbeiter. I'm the DPR for Canada. It's wonderful to welcome you here to this first inaugural event. Chef de cabinet, Undersecretary General Lacroix, Executive Director Bajos, ASG Zuev, ASG for Africa as well. Many excellencies that are here to celebrate this wonderful accomplishment. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I'll get us started right away by inviting my co-facilitators from the group of Friends of Corrections, starting with His Excellency Mr. Magnus Lennartson, the Chargé d'Affaires of the Permanent Mission of Sweden, to offer some opening remarks.
Excellencies, Undersecretary General Lacroix, Executive Director Bajos, Chef de Cabinet Rattray. In our common agenda and the Action for Peacekeeping Plus initiative, the Secretary General emphasized that sustainable peace is not possible without the full and equal inclusion of women in all stages of peacemaking, peacekeeping, and peacebuilding. This is particularly true and important in prison settings. At the annual Group of Friends for Corrections meeting in December last year, a survey was presented which clearly showed the obstacles that women face in UN field operations supporting correction-related mandates. The troublesome findings included safety concerns due to gender, including harassment, even sexual harassment, and discrimination in the workplace, exclusory policies and bias, making it challenging for women staff to rise through the ranks. At the same meeting, the Justice and Corrections Service of the Office of Rule of Law and Security Institutions in the Department of Peace Operations announced the creation of the United Nations Trailblazer Award for Women, Justice and Correction Officers. This award recognizes the outstanding contributions of women, justice, and corrections personnel serving in United Nations peace operations who, through their role and performance in mission, have challenged gender stereotypes and gender-related barriers. As we all know, prison environments are typically male-dominated environments. The vast majority of prison populations are men, and stereotypical perceptions of what constitutes male versus female professions in prison settings often create challenging or even hostile working environment for women prison staff. Every day, women correction officers continue to prove that they are important role models for both colleagues and inmates. But make no mistake, empowering women staff to bring transformative change and increasing the number of women prison officers and women prison leaders require much more action at all levels. The new Trailblazer Award, we hope, will serve as an inspiration and a catalyst in this process. This award presents a commitment to acknowledge exemplary professional women in peacekeeping and to challenge harmful stereotypes and bias against women peacekeepers. A trailblazer is a pioneer, a person willing to take risks and create pathways where there were none before. A trailblazer inspires others to blaze new paths of their own. Let me conclude by expressing the deep appreciation of the Swedish government to all involved in making this new award a reality. I congratulate the well-deserved nominees. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Magnus. I now have the honor of inviting my colleague, Her Excellency Ms. Njambi Kiyungo, the Deputy Permanent Representative of Kenya, to offer as well opening remarks. Njambi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richard. Excellencies, Under Secretary General for Peace Operations, Mr. Jean-Pierre Racroix, Under Secretary General, Ms. Sima Bahous, Chef du Cabinet, Mr. Courtenay Rattray, members of the Justice and Correction Service, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Canada, Kenya, and Sweden, the co-chairs of the Group of Friends for Corrections, we are honored to be here today for the first Trailblazer Award ceremony for women, justice and corrections officers serving the UN peace operations. Corrections and the rule of law remain central to host nations' peace processes. That is why your work is critical, as it restores citizens' trust in the government and rule of law. It is through the commitment of peacekeepers like you that the UN puts smiles and hope on the nations that you serve. Since its formation in 2011, the Group of Friends for Corrections in Peace Operations has endeavored to provide guidance, support, and expert advice, including through advocating for the adequate considerations of correction issues in peacekeeping operations. We owe this to the collaborative effort of the Justice and Correction Service, the contributing member states, and various international institutions. The equal, effective, and meaningful participation of women remains at the core of the Group of Friends objective. We are therefore humbled by the achievements of our government, provided corrections and justice personnel. As women serving in these functions, you are examples to all women peacekeepers and the women in the Central African Republic. The work of all the Trailblazer nominees in peacekeeping missions shows that the Action for Peacekeeping Plus, A4P Plus, has gained good traction in the field and that women, peace, and security agenda is being mainstreamed. As we celebrate the winner of the Trailblazer Award today, we also celebrate all the women in peace operations and especially those in justice and corrections. We thank the Justice and Correction Service for leading the field in increasing the number of women peacekeepers. Thank you for making us a part of your team. Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Njambi. And now it's my honor to invite Elizabeth Schwartz to provide her spoken word rendition of the poem she created specifically for this event, entitled What the Laurel Branch Wants You to Know. Il n'y aura pas d'interprétation en français pour le poème, mais vous avez devant vous une traduction dans votre paquet de le poème en français. There'll be no interpretation for the poem into French, but for those of you who would like to follow in French, there is a translation available in the packets at your seats. Elizabeth, the floor is yours.
It's an honor to be here, and congratulations once again to the winner of the UN's Trailblazer Award, Téné Maïmouna. And this poem is entitled, What the Laurel Branch Wants You to Know. If the laurel trunk collapses and no one is around to hear, do not despair. Cast your gaze to the periphery. Cast a safety net. Salvation is the soundtrack of seats beyond a figurehead. Cast a bet on the promise our todays will envy our tomorrows. I promise you, there is always an ear, door creaked open. Always someone listening, leaving breadcrumbs behind, letting the flares flicker moonlight, learning to unravel the roots that bind our tongues. Listening, listening, listen to the leaves rustle. Listen to the skylark wings beat. Listen, the limbs piece themselves together before there is a name for the tune that ripples in your bloodstream, rumbles in the subway tunnel, stitch together a song, sing, rasp, reedy, raucous. At the end of the day, we return to stardust and scapula pillows, and softness is strength. The laurel trunk is no pedestal, and the tin can is half empty and pellet-stained, and woman is the space that holds. Take this throne for timber, but do not take us for granted. According to the United Nations, women made up only 23% of peace negotiators in 2020. And our trials tip the scales of justice gold. Today we are trailblazers. Tomorrow let these embers outlast our limbs. Outlast limits, light this path, won't be without detours, without thrones, without patchwork thread fresh. If war is forest fire, destruction, then peace cannot be dry land, cannot be absence. Instead, call this birthright, call this benchmark, call this abundance. Fistfuls of constellation, let us fashion matches into brushes, streak the canvas sky blue, sun-washed, soft as cirrus clouds, soft as flower patches, meaning we are creation without the myth, meaning women are easel and canvas, and no one said abstract as orbit would be easy. We will teach you how to hold ourselves accountable. But first, hold respect. To be a woman peacekeeper is to exist as pomegranate kernel, seed for the next generation. Mouths mend maladies, and lullaby is the lilt that wakes us striding into sunrises we can smile upon. In other words, sidelines were never an option. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I would now like to invite the chef de cabinet, Mr. Courtenay Rattray, to make comments and present our first Trailblazer Award.
Thank you, Richard. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Secretary General, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Justice and the rule of law are at the heart of peaceful and resilient societies. They are essential, but not automatic. In too many countries around the world, we see what happens when these essential elements are lacking. Violent conflicts rage and worsen. Impunity, corruption, and exclusion run rampant. And millions of people around the world, especially women and girls, are denied their basic human rights to dignity, to equality, prosperity, and to safety. Amidst these challenges, the women and men of the United Nations stand with the people and communities to not only ensure security, stability, and peace, but to strengthen justice and the rule of law. Our peace operations help host countries fight impunity, corruption, terrorism, crime, including human trafficking and sexual violence. They help build effective and fair institutions that respond to the needs of survivors of violence and rebuild trust between people and state. Through support to member states, the UN plays a critical role in defending victims' rights and bringing perpetrators to justice. For example, our mission in Central African Republic supports authorities in arresting, detaining, and investigating crimes committed by armed groups. And in Mali, the UN supported the judicial administration in trial cases of human rights violations and terrorism-related charges. National authorities have convicted 189 individuals of terrorism-related crimes. And we need women at every decision-making table. That's why we will continue our efforts to put women and girls at the center of our peace and security policies and efforts, including through the new vision for the rule of law and new agenda for peace outlined in the Secretary General's report on our common agenda and the Action for Peacekeeping Plus initiative. You know, across this work, our ability to implement diverse and complex mandates will be strengthened if our workforce is gender balanced and reflects the international character of this organization and indeed of the world in which we live. Mission after mission, including our operations themselves and those they serve, will benefit from the perspectives and experience that our female personnel bring to preventing and responding to conflicts and building sustainable peace. Today, there are more women leading our field missions than ever before, with gender parity among our heads and deputy heads of missions. Among the UN Justice and Corrections officers, 43% of them are women. This compares to just 25% in 2018. And in 2021, 1 year ahead of schedule, we reached parity among our senior leadership, under Secretaries General and Assistant Secretaries General. We will continue pushing forward on our gender parity efforts within our organization. We are committed to achieving gender parity across the United Nations at every level, in every entity, by 2028, if not sooner. Ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate those women who are shaping the future of peacekeeping and the rule of law. Pioneers like Mme Téné Maïmouna Zoungrana, who has shown exceptional leadership in the area of operational prison security, a challenging field, as you have heard, that is generally dominated by men. Her expertise, perseverance, her leadership have helped prevent and moderate serious unrest in Central African Republic's most notorious prison. Pioneers like Maïmouna remind us that women are integral to security efforts and help institutions deliver better. Without women, we simply cannot achieve lasting peace and prosperity. So, on behalf of the Secretary General, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to present the first United Nations Women in Justice Corrections Pioneer Award to Mme Téné Maïmouna Zoungrana of Burkina Faso. Joining me in giving her a round of applause. Let's go over here.
Excellences,
Your Excellencies,
Monsieur le chef de cabinet
Mr.
du
Chief of
Secrétaire
Staff
général
of the
des Nations Unies,
Secretary General of the United Nations,
Mesdames et Messieurs les
ladies and
secrétaires
gentlemen,
généraux adjoints
Under
et
Secretaries
secrétaires
General,
généraux adjoints,
Mr. Permanent Representative
Monsieur le représentant permanent
of
du
Burkina
Burkina Faso,
to the
près les
United
Nations Unies,
Nations,
chers collègues du
dear
service des
colleagues
questions
of the
judiciaires
Justice
et
and Correction
pénitentiaires du
Branch of the
département des
Department
opérations
of
de maintien de
Peacekeeping
la paix.
Operations.
Les mots me manquent pour
Words
exprimer les
fail me
émotions
today
qui
to
m'animent en
express
ce
the
moment.
emotions that I'm feeling at this
Je
moment.
voudrais avant tout
First of all,
vous témoigner ma
I
gratitude
would like
pour
to
avoir
express
porté
my
votre choix
gratitude
sur
to
ma
you
modeste
for choosing
personne
me as
pour
the
recevoir le
recipient
prix de la
of the
pionnière pour les femmes
Trailblazing
spécialistes des
Trailblazer
questions
Award for
judiciaires et
women judicial and
pénitentiaires
correction officers
servant dans les
in
missions de maintien de la
peacekeeping
paix.
operations.
C'est un grand honneur
It is such a great
et une
honor
responsabilité
and a
pour
huge
moi de recevoir
responsibility
ce
for me
prix.
to receive this award.
C'est gratifiant
It is
d'avoir
incredibly
l'opportunité d'être
gratifying to have the
déployé
opportunity
en tant que
to have been
spécialiste
deployed
des affaires
twice
pénitentiaires
as a correction
au sein
officer
de la
with
MINUSCA
MINUSCA
à deux reprises,
twice,
de 2014 à
from
2017
2014 to
et
2017
actuellement depuis
and
2020.
currently since 2020.
En tant que formatrice
And as a specialized trainer,
spécialisée, j'ai eu la chance
I
de me
have had the
familiariser
chance to
avec le
become
contexte
familiar
du système
with the context
pénitentiaire
of the prison
de la
system
République
in
centrafricaine.
Central African Republic.
Actuellement,
Currently,
j'assure La
I
coordination
am
des équipes de
coordinating the
sécurité de la
security
maison
teams
centrale d'Ngaraba,
at the Ngaraba
la plus
Central
grande
House,
prison
which
des
is the
hommes
largest prison for men
en République
in the
centrafricaine.
Central African Republic.
Une fonction qui m'a
It is a
permis
role
de soutenir
that
la
has
mise en
allowed
œuvre
me to
des activités
support
de réforme
the
du secteur
implementation of the
pénitentiaire,
mission-led prison sector reform,
démilitarisation
demilitarization,
et de
and
sécurisation des
prison
prisons
security
pilotées par la
strategies.
mission. La sécurité pénitentiaire a
Prison
longtemps été
strategy has
caractérisée
long been
par des
characterized by
stéréotypes
stereotypes
qui ont fait
that have
obstacle à l'épanouissement des
completely
femmes
hindered the development of women,
spécialistes de
prison
l'administration pénitentiaire.
specialists.
L'opportunité
And
est donnée
today,
aujourd'hui aux femmes
women are given the opportunity
d'exercer en
to
milieu
work in
carcéral
prisons
toutes les
in
fonctions et
all
les
functions
spécialités
and
sans
specialties
distinction
without any distinction,
selon
in
l'objectif de
accordance
développement
with
durable
Sustainable
numéro
Development
5
Goals number 5
concernant l'égalité
on
des genres
gender
et
equality
l'autonomisation des femmes.
and women's empowerment.
Cela permet de
And this
relever
is an
des
opportunity
aptitudes
to
et je me
reveal
réjouis
skills.
d'en avoir
And I'm
profité
so thrilled
pour
to
exercer ma
have taken
vocation.
advantage of it to exercise my
Excellence.
vocation. Excellencies,
La présente distinction
this current
est un
award is an
encouragement à
incredible
toutes les
encouragement
femmes
to
à
all
qui je dédie
women
ce
to
prix.
whom I dedicate this
Une
prize.
invitation
It
à
is an
briser
invitation
toutes les
to break
chaînes
all the chains
et à révéler
and reveal
tous les
all the
talents
talents
qu'elle recèle
that they
pour le
conceal
bien de tous.
for the good of all.
Aussi,
And now,
voudrais-je
I would like
profiter
to
de cette
take this
occasion
opportunity
pour
to
encourager les
encourage
États membres
member
à
states
pousser les,
to
plus les
encourage
femmes
more and
à
more
participer
women
aux
to
missions
participate in
aussi
these
bien
missions,
dans le secteur
both
de la
in the
justice,
justice
de la
level
sécurité,
as well as the
et bien
security sector
évidemment
and of
dans le
course
secteur
in the
pénitentiaire.
penitentiary sector.
Nous sommes encore si peu
There's still
nombreux
so few of us at
actuellement,
this moment,
alors que les besoins de
when
nous
there's
voir
such a
contribuer plus
pressing need
efficacement
of us to
à la mise en
contribute more
œuvre des mandats
effectively
des Nations
to the
Unies,
implementation
des
of the
Nations Unies
missions
est si
mandates.
pressant. Je suis persuadée
I am convinced
que plus de femmes
that
aux
more
côtés des
women
hommes
alongside
ne
men
feraient
would
qu'accroître
only
l'accomplissement des
enhance the
mandats
fulfillment
des
of the
missions de
mandates
maintien
of
de la paix.
peacekeeping missions and operations.
Excellence,
Excellencies,
permettez-moi d'adresser
I would like
mes
now to
sincères
express
remerciements
my sincere
à
thanks
toute
to
personne
everyone
qui, de loin ou
who
de
has
près,
been involved
a
closely
participé
or
à mon
loosely
épanouissement
in my
professionnel
personal
et
development
m'a permis
and
d'être
has made
là
it possible
aujourd'hui.
for me to be here today.
Je reçois ce prix
I receive this
comme
award
un appel
as
à
a
mieux
call
faire
to do
et
better,
je m'engage à
and I
endosser
pledge to
mon
take on
rôle
my role
de modèle
as a
désormais
role model
assigné pour sensibiliser mes collègues et mes
educate
homologues
my colleagues
nationaux.
and national
Je voudrais
counterparts.
profiter
I want to
dire
take
mon dernier
advantage to say
Ce
one
mot
last word.
est à l'endroit de Mme Ingrid
And
Génom,
this is
chef de
Madame
l'unité
Ingrid
des affaires
Génom.
pénitentiaires
She
de la
is at the
MINUSCA,
head of the
ici
MINUSCA.
présente.
She's present
Elle est
here
un
today.
idole pour moi.
She's an
Elle
idol
m'a
of
permis
mine,
d'arriver
and
où je
she
suis
has
aujourd'hui.
allowed me to be
Je vous
wherever I
remercie.
am today. Thank you so much. Working in prisons has long been regarded as a role only for men, and being a woman in this environment is not easy at all. But we managed to adapt. And with the perseverance that we have acquired,
Il y a le son qui ne marche plus, alors on va recommencer dans 2 petites minutes.
we're going to continue in a couple of minutes. Thank you for your patience.
Pendant qu'on attend, while we wait for hopefully the technical issue to be resolved, we'll move into our Q&A and then we'll come back to the video if we're able to fix the sound. So, félicitations encore de la part de tout le monde. C'est vraiment un honneur d'être avec vous et d'apprendre expérience. Si vous pouviez indiquer peut-être pour nous autres une qualité essentielle requise pour travailler dans le secteur pénitentiaire, quelle serait-elle?
Thank you very much.
Être pénitentiaire,
To be an agent, prison officer,
c'est avoir
it means
un peu toutes les qualités
you need to have all the qualities
de
that you can find in a
il faudrait les
society.
grignoter un peu,
You would have to,
il faudrait les rassembler pour
put
pouvoir
them
faire
together
ce
in a
travail.
way
Je l'ai dit
to
parce
be able
que
to do this work. I
c'est
say
un
that
travail
because
assez
it's a
complexe,
job that is rather
puisque,
complex in nature.
il s'agit là
Indeed, it is
d'œuvrer à ramener des personnes
to
qui sont
bring people
en
who
porte-à-faux avec la loi,
d'œuvrer
à
in trouble with the
les
law,
éduquer
we need to educate them
d'œuvrer à les
and
former,
to bring to
d'œuvrer
train them.
à
We
les
need
accompagner
to
à
support them
purger leurs peines et de se
throughout
retrouver
their
en
time in jail
personne
and to try
normale
to
au sein de la société.
Et
Il faudrait concilier cet accompagnement avec ce qui est un peu obligatoire
with
dans
this
ce
kind of a
milieu qui est la
requirement, which is in a jail system,
qui dit
which is
sécurité,
security. So we need to combine that, and we say
respect des droits
safety and
de l'homme,
security. It means also
milieu
respect our human rights in the
il
jail
faudrait,
system,
concilier
because
ces deux
you need to combine
afin de
both
pouvoir,
in order
atteindre les
to
objectifs
be able to
visés
reach
par,
the goal
les systèmes
that have been designed
Très
and
bien,
set by
merci.
the judicial
Et
system.
on a
Thank you very much,
entendu,
very well. And
vous nous avez dit
we
aux États membres ici
were,
d'essayer de
we asked the member states to encourage to have more women to start this and pursue this kind of career. So maybe if you could talk to young women now who are thinking about, pursuing a career in the prison system, what would you recommend them to do? Or what would you tell them? As I said earlier, the jail system, the carceral system, is a very complex environment. But I would say to young women who are thinking about it to go for it, because it is a sector where you can talk and express yourself with pride, because you are actually working on helping a human being to go back to normalcy and to be useful to society. So it is a wonderful contribution that you can make to society if they get involved in this kind of jobs. So I would like to encourage them to join us, because women is, the solution for peace. I totally agree.
Merci. Merci.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Ils m'ont avisé que le vidéo
so I've heard that the video should be working now, so we're going to try going back to the video now. Work in prisons has long been regarded as a job for men. Being a woman in such an environment, it's not easy at all, I can tell you. But we managed to adapt. And with perseverance, the perseverance that we have acquired over time, we are able to set in motion and to apply our courage and to carry out the activities entrusted and assigned to us. For me, to be a pioneer woman is to be a courageous woman. It means being a woman who has the will, the competence, the capacity to prove to the whole world and to the penitentiary environment in particular her know-how, her knowledge, and to bring an intellectual knowledge that can contribute to the improvement and the perpetuation of adequate penitentiary services. She has leadership skills, which is really remarkable. She is a role model for her GPP colleagues. She inspires both of them, men and women who can see themselves in her. Currently, women represent almost 40% of prison officers, seconded from their country in our section. What is even more important, where I think my colleagues really set the stage for these pioneers, those trailblazers, the decision to appoint women to positions of responsibilities, to decision-making positions, and not just administrative positions, no executive positions, not just positions in women's prison, but in all the prisons in the Central African Republic where we work.
C'est vraiment fantastique de vous voir sur le terrain.
Thank you. It's really extraordinary to see you on the ground.
Since that video worked, I'm going to go for a second one. So we have a special video message now that's being delivered from the SRSG at MINUSCA, Ms. Valentine Rugwabiza, and hopefully we can get the video up right now.
Vos Excellences les ambassadeurs, Mesdames et Messieurs, mes premiers mots vont à l'endroit de
Mr. Secretary General of the UN, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, my first words are addressed to Ms. Téné Maïmouna Zoungrana, our colleague and a correction officer with the United Nations Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission, the MINUSCA, who is the recipient of the first edition of the UN Trailblazer Award for Women Justice and Correction Officers of the UN Department of Judicial and Correction Officers. Maïmouna, I warmly congratulate you on my own behalf and on behalf of all of your MINUSCA colleagues. As recipient and first women to be awarded this United Nations Trailblazer Award for Women Justice and Correction Officer for your outstanding contribution, you are honoring the entire MINUSCA and the entire United Nations. Maïmouna was selected for breaking down gender stereotypes and barriers in prison security operations using her knowledge, her unique approach, and her experience. Her constructive engagement with prison authorities has contributed to building trust in the prison environment. She holds the position of Security Department Coordinator at the Ngaragba Central Prison in Bangui, which is the largest prison in the Central African Republic. She has worked tirelessly to train and inspire others, especially her female colleagues. As a result, she plays a significant role in peacekeeping and peace building on par with her male colleagues. Her work to introduce rapid response training in the Central African Republic's National Prison Administration curriculum, which was an absolute first, and to build national capacity in incident management, policing, and the effective administration of justice, which are key peacekeeping functions, has not gone unnoticed, which is why she is the recipient of this award today. Lastly, by volunteering to lead the rapid response team, she serves as a role model and encourages not only all her MINUSCA colleagues, but also Central African correction officers to do the same. I want to thank you for your attention, and once again, dear Maïmouna, my warmest congratulations.
Très bien, j'inviterai maintenant le représentant
I would like to invite now the permanent representative of the ambassador of Burkina Faso to make a few comments. Mr. Ambassador, you have the floor. Thank you.
Excellency,
Mr. Courtenay Rattray, Head of State of the
Excellency, Monsieur l'Ambassadeur représentant permanent du Canada auprès des Nations Unies, je sais qu'il n'est pas là.
Dear Mr. Barbray, represented here, the permanent president of Canada to the UN, Excellency Ambassador Maïmouna Zoungrana, permanent representative of the United Nations, and Madame the representative of Kenya, Mr. Kunyungu, Maïmouna, dear laureate, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen. You know that it's a great pleasure and great pride that I speak to you on the occasion of this ceremony for the UN Trailblazer Award for Women Justice and Correction Officers, and Mme Téné is the recipient of that prize, and very proud. I would like to thank the organizers of this ceremony. I would like to express my gratitude to Canada, Sweden, and Kenya for their support and involvement for the program Women, Peace and Security. I would like to invite others to get involved in this dynamic effort. I would like also to take this opportunity to congratulate the initiators and the creators of this prize that is here aimed at recognizing the social contribution of women in the performance of their mission, and in which they challenge all obstacles related to gender. Through my voice, the government of Burkina Faso expressed all of its gratitude and its pride to see one of its daughters to be nominated for this prestigious award. This award is extra motivation, we'll go over the hurdles, towards gender equality. Miss Maïmouna, I would like to congratulate you. I would like to encourage you in the path that you've chosen. Thank you and congratulations for the work that you have done. You can be proud of what you have done. I would like to share a few words of courageous women like you who have impacted their environment as well. The first comment is from my Anjali, activist of human rights, who said the success you create. The key to success is to love what you do and love how you do it, and of course, in other words, success is not just a question of having money or having goods, having things, but to love yourself and to, as you are, and to love what you do and to take pleasure in what you do. Ellen Johnson, the former president of Liberia, first woman who was a president in Western Africa. If your dreams scare you, it means that if your dreams don't scare you, it's just that they're not big enough. You dream and make women dream, and the youth of the world as well. Lastly, Rosa Parks in the U.S. of the civic movement state. One woman, one person can change the world. Mrs. Maïmouna, you've changed the peacekeeping mission through your involvement. And dear guest and Mrs. Zoungrana, through our dedication and show what a woman can do. And you are showing your colleagues and to women all the potential that you can offer to the world. You are a role model that is a source of inspiration. You are a mentor, and your example, will be of resonating for a long time in the peacekeeping mission. This award showed that we can really trust women for peacekeeping and justify the initiative act, which has shown that the role of women is essential to improve peacekeeping operations. Having more women in the peacekeeping operation will mean that those operations will be more efficient, and therefore I invite all the member states to, meet the goal of the Secretary General of the UN to have a gender parity in the nomination of police agents, for the personnel in the judicial and prison system. It's not a question of justice only for community and society. Peaceful and resilient, become a reality, women need to be involved and be able to compete at the equal level with men. This is why excellence is so important in this area as it is in many other areas. And therefore, it is important to give a prize to those who have achieved a level of excellence. And it gives a goal and give a meaning to the work of two men and women of many different environments who work in this environment to maintain peace. We will be able to, in that way, make a gift to the future generation. I would like to congratulate once again Ms. Zoungrana. I would like to congratulate everyone, all the candidates. Thank you very much.
We have a few moments where participants here have an opportunity, if they so wish, to pose questions or offer congratulations to our Trailblazer winner. And to help kick us off, we'll turn first to Assistant Secretary General Zouev for some remarks. ASG, the floor is yours.
Pas de questions, j'ai plutôt un commentaire peut-être.
No question, maybe. No questions, more.
Parce que ce matin, j'étais très honoré d'avoir Maïmouna dans mon bureau.
It was an honor to have Maïmouna with me in my office, and I already congratulated her because this is something absolutely extraordinary.
Only in my capacity as a chair of the selection board for this very special prize, I can tell you that we had a very impressive pool of our female colleagues from corrections over the world, from different missions, you know. But we had no doubt, and I have some witnesses. I mean, ASG Pobe was a member of this distinguished panel with director and many other present here. Well, we were really impressed. And you saw even from this short video how challenging, but how important is this task. And obviously, it's not a typical and usual task which women perform in peacekeeping operations. I mean, you know, to train these SWATs and to manage, you know, all these possible rights. And, you know, in one of the largest prisons and one of the most complex political and security environments which we have in Central African Republic. So once again, I mean, I would like just to congratulate Maïmouna once again, and I believe that you will inspire many colleagues around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ASG. We may have time for one or two more before we go to closing remarks. Is there anyone who would like to take the floor? I'm sorry if I can't. I didn't wear my glasses today, so if I can't recognize you, but you could just raise your hand or turn your mics on and let me know if you'd like to either pose a question or offer comment or observation. Yes, please, in the back left-hand corner. If you can introduce yourself as well when you pose your question.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen Anderson. I work for UNODC. I'm a correction advisor, and I just want to extend my congratulations to the winner of the award for her magnificent work. I'm also a correctional officer. I know what you meet as a woman in the field of working with security, and I'm just extremely proud to hear about the work you've done. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. That's great. Anybody? Okay, I don't think I see any more requests from the floor, so we'll go. We have a couple of sets of closing remarks, and we'll first hear from Undersecretary General Ms. Sima Sami Bahous, Executive Director of UN Women. ED, as you wish. Whatever's easier.
Excellencies, Undersecretary General Lacroix, our dear award winner, Ms. Maïmouna, dear colleagues, what an uplifting, inspirational event. Thank you so much, really. And thank you, and thank all of you. I warmly congratulate the winner of the first United Nations Trailblazer Award for Women, Justice and Corrections Officer, Ms. Maïmouna Zoungrana. I salute you, Ms. Maïmouna, and congratulations. Your achievements and your commitment show the importance of women's leadership in traditional male-dominated fields. And because of your example, other women and girls will now be inspired to blaze their own trails. I also would like to thank the group of friends of corrections in peace operations, including Kenya, Canada, and Sweden, for ensuring that gender equality is a central component of the work in justice and corrections. I also offer my congratulations to all the nominees and all the women correction officers who are trailblazers in your own rights. You represent the very best of UN personnel. We are proud of you all. Excellencies, dear friends, dear colleagues, we face intersecting global threats to peace, justice, and gender equality. And also, we face growing pushback that threatens years of progress. It is more crucial than ever that the UN reflects its core values of fairness and equality, of justice and peace. This starts with ensuring that more women have access to leadership and decision-making roles. Excellencies, women's participation in peacekeeping has been recognized as a critical component of mission success. And while there has been an increase in the number of women in the UN system, thanks to the leadership of the Secretary General, barriers still remain, especially in peace operations. As a way to tackle these barriers, UN Women created the Field Enabling Environment Guidelines in support of the Secretary General's system-wide strategy on gender parity. The objective of the field-specific Enabling Environment Guidelines is to provide tailored guidance for personnel in the field, especially in mission settings, to help increase the representation of women and accelerate efforts to reach parity in the UN system. The recommendations therein range from providing access for women's health services to standardized parental leave and increased awareness on codes of conduct, specifically around sexual harassment. Through the support of member states and the Department of Peacekeeping Operations, UN Women also hosts the LC Initiative Fund, an innovative program that aims to support and incentivize efforts to sustainably increase the meaningful participation of uniformed women in UN peace operations. Since 2019, the fund has approved 15 projects in 11 countries and 1 field mission. The projects range from barrier assessments with flexible funding being made available to address barriers to the deployment of gender-strong units and constructing gender-sensitive accommodation. UN Women also proudly hosts the Female Military Officers Course, a 2-week training which provides technical and practical skills to prepare military women for deployment on mission. Since 2015, more than 870 uniformed women have completed this course. We hope that they are just the first of many more women who will do this work. Dear colleagues, I want to thank you again for today's inspirational event and to encourage leaders to continue recognizing those within their missions who are working to move the needle for women and girls. Congratulations again to you, Ms. Maïmouna. Congratulations again to all the nominees and to all the women correction officers. You make us all proud. If I may, I just want to recognize CDC for the great introduction and the keynote that you have presented on behalf of the Secretary General, and I was remiss of not addressing you in the beginning of my speech. So thank you very much for being here. You have always been a great supporter of gender equality of women and girls throughout the career, and now as CDC, we are proud to have you there as our supporters for UN Women and for the women globally. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Executive Director. I now have the honor to invite our final speaker of the day, the Undersecretary General for the Department of Peace Operations, Undersecretary General Lacroix. Vous avez la parole, monsieur.
The floor is yours, sir.
Chef de cabinet, dear Courtenay Rattray, my dear colleague, Executive Director of UN Women, dear colleague, ESG, directors and staff of DPO and the Secretariat, and of course, ma chère lauréate, Excellencies. D'abord, je voudrais me joindre à ceux qui m'ont précédé pour féliciter Téné Maïmouna Zoungrana
congratulate Maïmouna Zoungrana for this amazing achievement. Very well deserved indeed.
Mme
Zoungrana, dear Maïmouna, your courage and determination to chart your own course despite the challenges you have faced will remain for all of us a source of inspiration for all of us and your colleagues on the field. As the Chief of Staff has already pointed out, justice and the rule of law are essential pillars of peaceful societies. And our missions currently face increasing risks from armed groups, violent extremists, and other disruptors of peace processes. And within this context, the work of correction officers help to ensure that those who commit crimes and crimes that threaten peace and that were held, that were recognized as guilty, are held in safe, secure, and humane conditions while being legally tried or proceedings take their course. UN correction officers such as you are, Ms. Zoungrana, work hand in hand with national prison staff to ensure that high-risk detainees, especially the high-risk ones, do not pose a threat to public safety or they undermine ongoing peace processes. You work with in very challenging, in many challenging conditions. Sometimes you do not receive sufficient funds to properly feed inmates, so it's a humanitarian challenge. National prison staff are often poorly paid, under-equipped and under-trained and unmonitored. And as a result, they're sometimes unable to adequately prevent or respond to incidents in prisons. And in some cases, they might even fuel unrest.
Alors, to succeed in this context, we rely on you. We rely on our correction contributing countries to provide your best and brightest officers for deployment to United Nations peace operations. Et merci au Burkina Faso de nous avoir.
Thank you to Burkina Faso, who gave us our dear colleague Maïmouna.
Let me thank in particular the group of Friends of Corrections in Peace Operations for their unwavering support, and Canada, Kenya, and Sweden for enabling today's important event. Many contributing countries have answered our call to nominate more women for deployment as Justice and Corrections government-provided personnel. Without their support, we would not be where we are today, exceeding the targets of the Uniform Gender Parity Strategy with 43% of deployed Justice and Corrections officers being women. Of course, I also want to thank our colleagues working with the Justice and Correction Department to have, for their efforts to have help us achieve this goal. We must obviously keep this momentum and we must strive for full parity. We must also look beyond the numbers. To reap the benefits of greater diversity of our personnel, we must create enabling environments that empower those who have been marginalized for too long, that ensure freedom from harassment and discrimination, and that allow every peacekeeper to thrive. This is, as you know, one of our major objectives beyond going further in terms of the number and proportion. We need to create an enabling environment for women, indeed an enabling environment for everyone who serve in peacekeeping. Because we envisage a future in which United Nations missions continue to shine as bastions of inclusivity and diversity, a future in which peacekeeping operations are global leaders on gender equality. We're, I believe, on our way to achieve this objective, which is an important objective, indeed one of the key objectives of the Action for Peacekeeping Plus initiative. This is, to achieve this objective and to continue our efforts, is not only a matter of justice or the rule of law. This is how we ensure that peace cannot be absent, as you, Ms. Schwartz, so eloquently put it in the poem that you read to us today. It is how we build resilient and inclusive societies that can heal from the past and nurture peace for the future. So I thank you very much again, and we look forward to continuing with your good service. Dear Maïmouna, merci beaucoup, et bonne fin de journée.
Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.
Well, in closing, let me just say how wonderful it is to see one UN represented here, so many different parts of the system, and of course through the CDC, it's clear to us the strength of the commitment. And I'll say for the member states, it's wonderful to see, and we will continue to be partners with you in achieving our collective objectives. Let me also acknowledge with appreciation the troop, police, and justice and corrections contributing states that are here, including, of course, Burkina Faso. Thank you for your contributions to UN peacekeeping operations and to all others who participate in this collective endeavor. Elizabeth, thank you for sharing with us your rendition, your beautiful rendition, and inspiring us, and it's wonderful to see this world through your eyes as well. We really take to heart the poem that you shared with us today. Let me thank those who organized the session today, and if you'll permit me, especially my colleague Marlene Snowman, Superintendent Snowman, who is a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and is a really strong part of our team here, and has been working, of course, with our friends from Kenya and Sweden and JCS and others to put this together for a long time. But I want to acknowledge in particular Marlene's work, because if it wasn't for her, I'm not sure that we would be here in the way that we were. And of course, let me finish, like others have, with acknowledging and recognizing the tremendous contribution that our first Trailblazer recipient of the year. Your example will stick with us. We will convey that back to all the different parts of the world that we come from, and use your example to inspire others to follow in your footsteps. You played tribute to those who you learned from, but I am confident that there are many who will learn from you. We have refreshments, an opportunity to engage personally one-on-one with the recipient and with others just in the delegates' lounge. Merci encore à tout le monde. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you very much to all. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for spending part of your afternoon with us. Thank you very much.